This is the Starlight Express Alumni Podcast.
Hi, my name is Drue Williams. I'm a Starlight Express alumni, and my journey began in 1983. I was a builder. I'd been a builder for 4 years, did my City and Guild, which is your bachelor's. But prior to this, when I was 12 years old, I was a skateboarder. Always had been a skateboarder. So when skates came out, I went onto skates. It was natural progression for me. I then was a stunt skater. I used to jump in front of Triumph Spitfires and all kinds of crazy stuff. I played roller hockey for England. Then, of course, this show came up, Starlight Express, and it was on the breakfast TV, and Andrew Lloyd Webber was there, and they were looking for people on unicycles, skateboards, anything. Well, I was a skater, so first and foremost, I took a skateboard along and my roller skates, and there was about, there must have been 3,000 people there. And they were taking them in groups of 25 in this hall. And there was this woman. I never watched TV. I don't watch TV now. Well, it was Arlene Phillips. No idea who she was. And they just said, skate around. So I'm just, because I'd done pirouettes and handsprings on skateboards. So I'd taken it onto my roller skating. So I did that. And we just went around. I was jumping in pirouettes and handsprings and on the skates. And they kept 4 out of each group of 25. And they stood us there and they said, okay, we want you to come back next week. Now, do you all sing? And we all said, yes. And the 4 of us walked off. It was me and 3 Welsh boys. And we were walking quietly down the road towards the tube station. And I said, how long have you been singing? They were like, I don't. Well, nor had I, So we just basically lied out. So anyway, fast forward, going for this audition. And I walk in. And there's these 6 people sitting there. And I'm like, seriously, my legs were just jelly. I was drying up. And I didn't have a song. So I took this book. There used to have a Casio violotone. It had the colored numbers. And the song was, Look What They've Done to My Song, Ma. Look what they've done to my song, Ma. Whatever. Yeah. And I gave it to the pianist. And I started, well, first and foremost, they get me to skate around. And so there was a little small space, so I didn't know what to do. So I just dragged a chair and put 2 chairs back to back, skated around and jumped them. And stopped, and they went, they put some music on and said, can you skate in time? So I'll do it. And I had 2 dogs.
Easy there, killer, anyway, easy
so
there.
I think they were shocked that I jumped these chairs. Enough! Yeah, sorry, I got a loud voice. But so they said, will you sing a song? And they said, yeah. And I gave them this book, and it was the colored dots. And I gave it to the piano player. And I kept drying up, and I could sing in tune. So they liked what they saw, and they paid for singing lessons for me. They sent me this guy called Chuck Mallet. And I went up to this in London, and these little, they're called, oh my gosh, they are, look at the back of the big house, a Muse house. And I went in, and there's this very effeminate old guy, and I'm like, oh, great. And he's like stretched, and he's touching me. I'm like one of those dogs at the pound when I'm touching the wrong area. Anyway, they gave me some singer lessons, and they brought me back again. So that was, fast forward, I won't bore you with that. I got into the workshop. I was a builder. At that point in time, I was earning £45 a week, which was $65. Bear in mind, it's 1983. And they offered me £200 to come and do this workshop, 6 weeks.
Right.
So I did it. Okay. So we go in there, and there's all these people, and they're bloody hopeless. It was me and this guy called Simon who could skate, and there's a couple of others. I didn't know anybody. Tracy Ullman was there. No idea who she was. None. The original lecturer was called Zane Griff. Apparently he was some pop star in Europe. So they get us doing, and John Napier was there, and he was building these ramps and all these different things, and he was getting me to test them. It was pretty straightforward. It was in a hall, Notre Dame Hall, just off Covent Garden. It's gone now. I actually went there in January and had a look, and they developed it something else. But we went downstairs, and that's where we first did the auditions. That's where we did the workshops. So basically, that's how the workshop started. And Arlene Phillips was getting the people who could kind of skate to do different moves. And then she'd say, oh, keep that. Basically, that's what Arlene does. She glues things together very, very well and spots what people can do. And then the other people had to learn it. So tell me if I'm speaking too fast. You've hit me on 2 coffees. So that was the workshop. fast forward, got to know all these different people. It was lovely working with Tracy Ullman, didn't know who she was. And I said to her, she said, "Oh, hi, I'm Tracy." I said, "Sorry, I know you're famous, but I don't know who you are." I know it sounds weird. And that's when I met Ray Shell and Francis Raphael, who went on to get a Tony for Les Mis. And I was just a builder. Well, the end of that, there was 6 weeks. We finished. That was like, bang. They said, well, give you a call if you need to do anything else. So I didn't want to go back to building. So my sister wrote me a resume. My sister got me on the audition and told me about that, wrote into the TV company, by the way, and said that I'm going to go up for this audition. And that was when my sister gave me a letter saying, "You're up for the audition." That's when I went for the skating originally. Blah, 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 my sister. Finished that, didn't want to do that. So my sister basically lied. She was working with British Caledonia at the time, and I became a travel agent. But I was star rating hotels. Because she was on the VIP thing, so she basically lied on this resume. And I got a job with Blue Sky, and I went around, was getting flown around to star rate hotels. And I was just looking at everyone else, "Well, what do you think of this?" And like, "Oh, yeah, I'll do that." So that was that. Anyway, whilst I was doing that for 6 months, I got this phone call. "Would you come in and do an audition for Starlight Express?" And I was like, "Sure." Well, this time I went in. What I missed out was the people I sang for originally turned out to be David Caddick, Trevor Nunn, Andrew Lloyd Webber, Richard Stilgoe. I kind of recognized Richard Stilgoe because he was a comedian off TV. But to me, they were just people listening to me sing. But that was why I was basically crapping myself. Fast forward, we go to the auditions, and they got me to do it again. They went to Pineapple West this time. So Pineapple West is set up like a stage, and there's rehearsal rooms. Well, the stage is about the way 3 foot, 3.5 foot. So I skated in the circle, and I jumped up on the stage. Well, the piano player had his upright piano there. Well, I skated around the stage, jumped over the piano player, skidded I never wore toe stops, skidded sideways because I was played roller hockey, and lined up these chairs and just jumped these chairs. And that was when they were just like, now, there's a TV program they did about the musicals. The reason I say why that's so poignant to me, gives me a lump in my throat, is because on that, it says how Cats started, how this started, and you can see it on YouTube. And Richard still goes on on there saying, basically, anyone was getting a recall for the show after the workshop who could basically not take the table out or could stand up beyond 30 seconds. And he said, then this cast from Crawley came in and jumped over the pianist. Well, that's how I didn't jump over the pianist. I jumped off a stage over the pianist. And after I left, they looked at each other and said, "I think we can do this." And it's actually on there. And that still gives me a little lump in my throat. And he tells all the story to all the new people. So for me, it was very, that was my forte. I was a skater. Singing? Nah, I don't think so. Fast forward, got my equity card, got into Starlight Express. Didn't like being in there. The rehearsals were great. The first day, they didn't really know what they were doing. So they were getting people to do pirouettes. Of course, I was doing pirouettes, and people were dropping and crashing. This is, I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of the train outside Victoria Apollo, and we're all standing on it. We went from there straight into rehearsals. Well, the first day, people doing pirouettes, one guy landed, and I was the only person who wasn't, I think, in show business. I mean, I got my equity card for being a skater. Well, we started doing these pirouettes in this hall. Where was that? That was in, Ray Shell will remember. This guy snapped his leg, bang. Pirouette, landed sideways, snap. Well, then they slowed it down to soft skating. Really? Maybe we should have thought about this beforehand, because you can snap stuff fast. This guy was screaming, the girls were crying, and I'm going, oh, boy, I could see it. I could just see it coming. You just knew it was coming. I was 20 years old. Anyway, so we start doing this, and it's funny, because I'm going around, and there's no offense, all these Ponzi people out of drama school, and Arlene's saying, give a big move. And I just start taking the piss. I'm going, well, they kept that in for the Japanese train. Dive. I'm thinking, I felt like saying, I'm just taking the piss here. Taking the mickey. I don't know if you have that saying. And so basically I realized if you over exaggerate everything you do, they kind of liked it. So I'm like, and in my head, I'm going, what the hell are you doing? So it goes forward. Fast forward, then we go into the theatre, and I saw the theatre. Now, I'd worked in skate parks before, and I was like, yes. There was Francis Raphael, bless her cotton socks. crying her eyes out. There's people going, I can't do it. And I'm thinking, this is fantastic. It was the best damn thing. Someone gave me a free skate park and they never stopped you, and I'm never off it. So that's basically how I got into Starlight Express. I went from being a builder, a workshop, star rating hotels, and got into Starlight, and I've been on stage ever since.
I know you started off. What was your role initially when you started?
Hashamoto. I was Hashamoto, and there was a guy called Gary Love who was well known on English TV. He was the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy, and he was on a TV program called Grange Hill about schools. And I recognised him. People said, "No, Gary Love," but he was great. We got me, him, and Bobby Collins just had a blast because we were they were out of drama school, but they were more builder-like. My personality. I always say, even now, I'm basically a builder who sings, because my mentality was formed at that point. I've always been, I don't curse that bad. And so that's always been me. And that's why I've always got these kind of roles. It's just me being a bit more of an idiot. That's why I was gassed.
Well, what's interesting is that you started off as Hashamoto, and then you eventually worked your way up to Greaseball.
Well,
what was that evolution?
Well, Gary Love, I get sidetracked. Gary Love hurt his knee, and I was his understudy. Basically, Gary was a pretty good skater, and he was played Dustin. Well, they gave me, I think, first cover to Dustin. I couldn't understand. I had 3 lines, and I used to just crap myself every time I said the lines. Well, Gary hurt himself, and he said to me, "Mate, I can't go on." And this is about 2 months into it, and he was going to go off for a long time. And so basically, I played Dustin for like 3 months. Well, the next year, because I played Dustin for 3 months, Gary left. He was a big TV star. There were some big names there. Stephanie Lawrence, I mean, she was well known. There was Jeffrey Daniels was there of Shalimar, so he'd turn up in a Rolls Royce with 3 Japanese girls every day. Off to his dressing room. I'm sure they weren't doing anything wrong, but it was just like a comedy act. And I'm around all these people, all this nut. And I didn't like it because it was Saturday. And normally I'm out with my friends on a Saturday, hanging around the stores and then going to a club. And there I am stuck in London, getting home at midnight, and all my friends have gone out. And I actually really didn't like it very much. I'm around all these, like theatre people. And it was just, I was like a fish out of water. The only part I liked was I was getting paid a lot of money to skate. So anyway, fast forward, Dustin, they gave me a 4th cover to Greaseball eventually. Never went on. The first time I went on was when Jeff Shankly hurt himself, and I was a part of the Greaseball gang, and I had to do Greaseball, your heart, da, 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 da. And I won't tell you the whole story on that because it actually makes someone look pretty bad because they nearly refused to go on because they said I was an amateur. Mm-hmm. I won't say who it was. But basically, I was a builder who just, so basically 6 months into doing Starlight, I was doing this small little role. So Jeff Shankly stayed 2 years. I got promoted to 3rd cover. And that means one time I got caught on ahead of someone else because the cover situation. And they went to management and complained because I wasn't theatre trained. I mean, you kind of go through it a little bit, but you know what? My skating got me there, but they paid for singing lessons off a guy called Ian Adams. And I stayed with Ian I started playing for my own. I never missed a singing lesson. Never. I was very, very forthright about that. So Dustin, Mark Davis was the understudy and everyone thought he was going to get it. And I went in and they offered me it and I was just shocked. I was happy that they were renewing a contract. And basically in the 3rd year, I got Greaseball. I was like, so I'm 24 years old. I've been on stage 2.5 years, and I get one of the biggest leads in the West End, really. Shock horror, but basically it wasn't bad because, I mean, I'm not Greaseball, but there's an awful lot about being an idiot that I know a lot about. As I said, I went on to play Gaston. I've always played the straight dickhead. But that's how I got that. And
well, it's funny. It's funny that because a couple of alumni, I know, and Riva was also one of them that said this, that because she experienced this as well. She came out of college, but the typical path for someone to get on Broadway was going through this traditional path. You know, you had the schooling, education, you had this uppity stuff to get on Broadway.
Yeah.
But Starlight and Starlight Express really, in a way, changed all that because the skill sets had totally changed. I mean,
Right.
Even the set itself, it just changed the whole environment and changed the dialogue, and it was just amazing.
Well, it was also a pop show, really. I mean, the typical theatre voices weren't really required, unless when the Italian trained in the workshop would actually sang an aria. He actually did an aria, and I wish I could show you the video, but I'm not allowed. And so he goes around. He basically is an opera singer. But if you think about the way the show is, most of these people could sing legitimate, but it wasn't required of that show.
Right.
And that's the way most musicals are now. In fact, if you hear legit musicals, it sounds kind of pompous in some ways. So that was where my background was, and also Riva. Yeah, I mean, it took a different facet of people to come in that theatre trainees don't have.
Yeah.
If you've gone up from 14 years old, you don't act like they've got, because you know what it's like. They'll send you out acting. They'll say, okay, go out in the street and for an hour, here's your character, and you have to walk and buy in shops. And I've never done any of that. You know, it's just like, no.
Well,
So-
you did, how long did you do the London before you went out to, because you went from London to Germany, Bochum?
Well, what happened was I did London from 1984, got Greaseball in 86. Then I did, Trevor Nunn came in and saw the show, and everyone was like, oh, Trevor Nunn's in. And I got offered Dominique in The Baker's Wife with the Royal Shakespeare Company. And so I went off, they give me this song to learn called Proud Lady. And I had to go to this little ropey room, and there was this guy there, pianist, and they wanted to hear me sing through it. And he said, great, that's it. I said, that's it? Yeah. Well, it turns out that was Stephen Schwartz. I didn't know who Stephen Schwartz was. I'd never even heard Godspell, none of it. So I got that. I went straight into The Baker's Wife, and I'm surrounded by Trevor Nunn and all these, the Royal Shakespeare Company. I'm the only person who's really singing. So I got on that cast down. That was a lead there. And that was through Trevor again. And then when that closed, because it was, it was a bit long. It's a great show. There was some great music, but you have to know. And Joe Stein was there, who wrote Fiddler on the Roof. And there's this old guy there writing these jokes, and of course, giving it to the actors. And he's laughing at his jokes, and some of them aren't funny. But no one's going to tell Joe Stein his stuff's not funny. So we're like, oh, let's keep it in then. That was an interesting one. But that finished, and I went back into Starlight. I made a phone call, and I said, is there any parts available? Just fancy working. And Maynard Williams was playing Greaseball at the time. And he basically went from Greaseball, and they moved him to Electra, and I came back in as Greaseball. So I stayed there until 91. Then I left there and came over to Bochum in 91. I did the German one till 1999. Then I did Gaston in Beauty and the Beast. Then I came back into Greaseball. Then whilst I was 2 years there, I got a call to do the national tour of America playing Greaseball. And I was married to Luann, of course.
Yes.
So we did the national tour, which was fabulous. And so I stopped doing Greaseball. Oh, gosh. I did a couple of other shows in between, Saturday Night Fever, that kind of thing. But I think I stopped doing that in 2000, I guess, whenever the US tour finished. So about 13 years ago.
Wow, yeah.
I still skateboard. I don't skate very often, but I still skateboard. I don't, I've always been that person. I'll die doing it.
Yeah.
I'm contemplating buying one of those new electric skateboards.
yeah, I bet those look like a lot of fun.
25 miles.
So I know there was a lot of us. I know with me, I did like 7 contracts. I mean, I did German production, then I did the U.S. tour, then went back into Germany a couple of times, and but I right now, as reflect, and a lot of alumni too, I will see if you have any recollection as well of lessons learned during that, because I know for me, there were things that I learned when I was doing Starlight, because I've done other shows like we've done a lot of shows, and for me, Starlight was the most physical, which is why I liked it a lot, because I came up in in the ballet world, but I was I was very masculine dancer.
Right.
And I loved the physicalness of dancing. And Gene Kelly was the guy that I wanted to dance like, and James Cagney, all these hardcore physical male dancers that were just hardcore male. And Starlight was like, for me, the best. And so the hardest show that I can do, and the only time now the only way I got more beaten up is when I do jujitsu now. But Starlight. So for you, Starlight, what kind of memories do you have from Starlight that maybe are life lessons for you? Because for me, I had some life lessons that I learned out of Starlight. One of them was just, you had to work your ass off to get what you had to get done, or else somebody got hurt or you got hurt.
Right. Well, me, I've always had a good work ethic. The first year of Starlight, I never missed one show. In fact, I fell asleep on the train on the way there one day, and it had gone on the way back, and I was opened my eyes, and I'm going the wrong way. And I got out East Croydon and said, "Where's this train going?" They said, "Brighton." I went, "No." So I ran. I said, "Where's that one going?" They said, "Victoria." I ran across, and I got there at 5:27. I think the show started at 7. Nick Bromley, the company manager, was waiting because I had one of those big cell phones because he knew I'd never miss a show. And I was 5:07. I was ready to go on stage at 5 past as Hashamoto. Life lessons. The hardest one I ever did was bar none Bochum, because my costume weighed 51 pounds. The race costume was 51 pounds. And I'm, you end up, depending on who's behind you, end up pulling some cow behind you. And if they don't skate, good Lord. One time, there was one race that I didn't, and the girl wasn't skating, and I'll name her, Maria Jane Hyde. She wasn't skating. She'll verify this. And I said, "You've got to skate. You've got to skate." She didn't skate. This was in London. I undid my belt and just went on my own. She was left with the belt. I was not doing it because I was not getting to the fight scenes in time because she wasn't skating. After that, she started skating. But German Starlight, it was tough as hell. I mean, those weekends, man.
Yeah.
Jeez, the 4-show weekends. We'd get there at 5 past 12. There was Freddie Mortini with like 12 egg whites and eating the stuff. Yeah. Stayed dead fit. It was a tough one. But I just learned, basically, I love doing the show. There's not a bone in my body wants to do it now. God, no. It just keep your head down and shut up. I've always had that ethic. Whereas Builder, it was open my mouth and tell everyone to shut up. There, you realize just stay low, do your crap. It's a great show. The fact that I was getting paid, most people hadn't done a normal job. To get paid to skate and sing. Yeah. I mean, if all jobs were equal, with all equal pay, I'd still do these jobs. It would be my choice of jobs. I wouldn't if you had the skill set to do anything, I'm going to be a brain surgeon. No, I'd kind of do this because it's so freeing. After the national tour of Starlight, I did 18 months working for Troika Entertainment as the development manager of shows, which was 18 months of hell. It was email followed by, and I hated life. Mm-hmm. I am not suited. I've either got to be outside or on stage. You get spoilt because you're doing shows for a living, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. And I doing Starlight for me was keeping fit. I was surrounded by a great bunch of people. I always swore I'd stop when the diner could be my daughter. Well, that happened on the national tour of America when Katie O'Toole could have been my daughter. She was 19 years younger than me. No, I've got to stop.
That's funny. Hey, I know you're out in Vegas now, and you've been there for a while. So share with everyone, what are you doing now? Because I know a lot of us are doing different things, and Starlight is just a small part of my life. And so share with everyone some of your passions now, and the work that you're doing now, and how what's going on now for you.
I've been working at the Wynn Las Vegas, which is the 5-star hotel here, and I'm in a show called Le Rêve for 11 years. It's a $160 million show. Bearing in mind, Starlight London was $3 million. So it's $165 million just to put the show in. There's 96 people in the cast, and there's a female singer and a male singer, and I'm the male singer. I've been doing that for 11 years. They've changed the music a few times. And I'm leaving now. I used to sing most of the main songs, but now I basically just do duets. I've outstayed when I should have stayed. You know what I mean? You've got to do what makes you happy. It's not always about the money, and I'm very much looking forward to taking some time off now. I booked a bunch of travel. As I say, I'm going to England, going to Vietnam for 10 days. I'm having an entire wardrobe of clothes made because I love clothes. You'd never guess it because I'm dressed like a scruff. Then my brother's turning 50. We're going to pay for a little trip to actually Munich to the Christmas market in November. Very looking forward to that and seeing my sister. My parents have now passed, sadly. And I'm actually preparing to go out and sing on my own and do my own thing. The strange thing is, as much as I'm prepared, I'm put this group together called, there's only two of us, the Sin City Gents. So because it's an oxymoron. But basically I sing a lot of, I don't sing so much rock now and blues. I sing a lot of I'm at the age where I can sing the Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin stuff and people like that, and the Michael Bublé. So I thoroughly enjoy doing that. So that's what I want to do. But the weird thing is, since I've said I'm leaving, I've been offered all these building jobs. I'm like, because when I first came here, I actually designed and built a 6,000 square foot home. Then the market crashed, we lost a fortune. So I'm like, I started, I won't go into it. But yeah, so I've got some building jobs. And I'm like giving prices high because I don't want to do them. They're like, that's fine. I'm like, oh boy. Yeah. So I also teach singing now as well. I don't enjoy it as much. Because you know it's like if you've got someone comes to a dance class and you say, okay, let's do a quick jeté or whatever you call the stuff, and they don't know what they're doing. If someone says, I say sing, okay, la 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 la, la 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 la, or I'm going open mouth humming, and they go, and I'm going, and they go, no. I can only teach. They have to be at a certain level, so it's tough. I don't enjoy it as much. I love doing shows though. There's nothing quite like it, and I have nothing but fond memories of Starlight Express. Many people got to know. So many people got to know, and it's delightful. Last year we went over to the German? Was it 25 years, 30 years?
30 years, I think.
I went to see the opening night with the English cast went over. And we watched the opening night. That was when I saw Paul Cribber as Greaseball, and it was a Jan Opposer, and he came over because Jan's my best friend. We talk on the phone. And when I go to England, I always meet up with Jan. He's a guitarist in the ELO Experience, a band in England now. Nice. But I have nothing but fond memories of it. I mean, you can't knock it. It's really sad when I look back about how many people have passed. You know, even when I look at that train from the original cast. Yeah. I'm like gone, and just like wow. Yeah.
We're in that place now, and it's interesting because I've interviewed several of the cast members that are now or they just finished Starlight, and again they're 20-year-olds. I have my daughter right now is 19 years old. Your son, how old is?
He's 20.
20, just like my daughter. She just turned 19, and I interviewed Georgina, and when I first did it, she wasn't even born. And so, but they are standing on the shoulders of those of us that came before them.
Right.
And, the stuff that you did and that we did, that you and Ray did in the beginning, and the New York show, and they've taken those lessons and doing what they're doing now. Yeah. I know a lot of fans, a lot of alumni are watching this, and I'd like to give all of you guys the last word, because this podcast is really about you guys and sharing your story. So what is the last word you'd like to say to the alumni, to the fans, before we close up this interview?
Thank you for the journey, and thank you for the memories. I hope that, like, when I think of the show, it makes me smile. And I hope that when you think of the memories we all had doing this, I hope it makes you smile too.
Drue, man, I appreciate you spending this time with me. Thank you so much for sharing.
You are welcome.
And of course, I'm saying in the back of my head, I want to see that video you have, but I know you cannot show it. But
maybe I'll talk to you about that on a different.
Yes. Well, I have a few of us have videos and footage, but we just can't show it.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. But thank you so much. please tell everyone there, tell Luann, everyone say hello.
Will do.
And would love to have her on here as well. Would have been nice to have both of you guys here. So
She's traveling.
she's all over the place, I know. But hey, much love to you, buddy, and your family. Stay well. Good luck to everything, and I'll stay in touch.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this episode of Starlight Express Alumni Podcast. Next week, I will get together with another alumni. Be sure to subscribe. You can subscribe right here on the website at starlightexpress.club. We are definitely on the iTunes and Stitcher, and we're looking to get on the other platforms, so make sure you check there, subscribe there, and stay connected. If you are a Starlight alumni, please be sure to reach out to me if you would like to be on the podcast. Would love to hear your stories and share your story with the Starlight Express fans and other alumni. Look forward to sharing with you next week. Everyone, have a great day.